Hi everyone, it's Elise and I'm excited to share my currently inked for January 2025. It's going in my new ink notebook, which is the Aeroful notebook from Amazon. And it is 75 GSM, 5mm grid, 96 pages, and it's white. I do enjoy this notebook and I have set it up in a specific way for my pen and ink notebook. If you haven't seen that and want to, I do have my 2025 planner and notebook lineup as the last video I posted on YouTube, so you can go check that out if you'd like. But basically the first section of this notebook is going to be my currently inked for each month. So let's just get started. I have had quite a few of these inked up since around December 20th. I was just feeling on that day like I wanted to start switching out my pens for the new year. So we're going to start with this one. It is the Pilot Kakuno in Fine. Now this one I inked up probably right after Christmas because this was an ink that I got from my company sent me an Amazon gift card for Christmas, and super appreciative of that. And I decided to buy some pen and ink things with it. So, I got this one. I had a sample of this a long time ago, and I really liked it. There's really nothing special about it. It's just a dark blue, like a navy blue, maybe even you would classify it as a blue-black. And I don't know, it just flows really well. It's really lovely. I always enjoyed writing with it. I do like this type of navy blue color, so I decided to buy a bottle of it because they're not that expensive and I knew that I liked it. So this is the Pilot Kakuno, and it's the fine nib, which is my new preferred nib size in Pilots because I'm loving that fine, crisp line. The next one is the Benu Talisman. Great, we're going to have focusing issues again. The Benu Talisman that I've had inked up since June of 2024. And in here is an ink that I received in an ink trade with Gail of Gail's Bookish Things recently. And I am really pleasantly surprised by this ink because when I first watched it, I thought for sure that it was going to be A, too light to write with, and B, probably really dry. And it's neither. It's very legible, obviously. And I did add like a tiny dot of white lightning even before I tried it, just anticipating that it was going to be dry. But now it's like quite wet, not too wet by any means, but it's quite wet. So I think it probably would have been fine without it, but I didn't even try it first. I just immediately added just like a needle tip of white lightning. Anyways, I am loving this writing experience. I reach for this pen all the time, and I am really, really surprised how much I love this color. See how wet it is? And I'm sure that if I hadn't added the white lightning, it probably would have just been like average flow. So yeah, super pretty, like powdery baby blue color. I love it. All right, the next one is this gorgeous Zodiac Pen Company pen in the Gemini model. And this has an Inkvent 2024 ink that I am also really pleasantly surprised with and happy with. And it is called Mint Twist. And when I swatched it, I thought it was pretty, but I thought it would probably also be kind of light. And I just wasn't like super excited about it. But having it in this pen, I just thought it would be like a great match for the pen, which it is because there's like a lot of little teals, like shiny spots in this pen. But what was I gonna write? This is the Abalone Blank. I think it's just the regular abalone. But yeah, I've been loving this one as well. It's super fun to write with. I like the color a lot. It reminds me a lot of Diamine Soft Mint, but with shimmer. So I'll hold it up at the end so we can really see the shimmer, but super enjoying that one as well. The next one is this little cutie Pilot Kakuno, Kakuno Sport. And I'm still carrying it over. I have like 4 carryovers from last month. Still enjoying this. And I thought it went really well with this like cool toned little color palette there. I did really try to go for like a January theme as far as what I think of as January colors. I think once you see them all together, you will hopefully agree. But I don't know. These colors are what I think of when I think of January. So this is Montverde, Jade, Noir, plus Diamine, Seasons, Greetings. And it's in the Kakuno Sport with a fine nib, and it's white, obviously. So yeah, so far I'm loving how the inks perform on the Aerofil paper. It is wet, but not as wet, I think, as the B7 and some Tomoe River paper. I don't know, I'm still trying to figure out the different Tomoe River papers now, but I do really like it. I think it performs well. The next one is this little Jinhao 82, and this pen I used last month, but I did end up changing out the ink. And this is another Diamine Inkvent ink. I'm so glad that I can use them now freely without worrying about doing spoilers for anybody. So this is a similar ink to the one that was in here last month, but this is a much cooler tone brown than that one was. So this is Diamine Inkvent 24 Nutmeg. It's such a pretty color. I really, really, really am enjoying this one a lot. And I will probably end up buying a bottle of it at some point in my life. Maybe, hopefully. And this is a fine goulet nib. Oops, that was contaminated. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, this next one is really exciting. So I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there are some new Pilot Kakunos that were released. And as far as I can tell, I've only seen them on AliExpress, but they're probably on like Amazon Japan or other websites like that. But they came out in 5 colorways. This colorway is like a milky white, and all of the colorways are this style of semi-opaque, like just barely translucent colors. They're supposed to be, I think it's called like the Dream series or something like that. And I did go ahead and order the brown gray one and the pink one as well, even though I wasn't planning on it, but I did because they're limited edition, and I love the Pilot Kakuno, and I know that I would have been so sad had I missed out and not ever been able to get them again, especially because it doesn't seem like they release new colors in the Kakunos too super often. And oh, the other thing that I love about this is that it has a gold colored nib. And you know how I love my gold colored nibs and accents on my pens. So I just couldn't pass it up. And I love it so much. So it's just like the other Kakunos. The nib performs just as amazingly as the regular Kakunos, but it's just more pretty and kind of like more my aesthetic, I guess you would say. So I'm loving this. This is a fine nib, but this ink is an ink that Sherry sent me in a recent ink trade, and it is J. Urban Cacao do Brazil. And she said how much she was absolutely loving this ink, and I can see why. It is such a gorgeous grayish. Like, it is tan, but it is also gray. I mean, sorry, it is, yeah, it's tan and it's also gray. Like, it's a brown gray. and it performs really well. I've heard this ink is dry, but I'm not having any issues with it so far. And this Kakuno does have a special name, but I forget what it is. It's a word that I don't know, so I'm just gonna put milky white and gold. But yeah, I am so happy with this pen, and I'm so excited for the other ones. I just love it so much. Kakunos, you guys know, are one of my very favorites. Okay, next one is no surprise. Still working on my Sandstone in my little Admock. It's getting down there. I'm having less and less. So I was like almost tempted to unink it because I'm just, oops, BPC Sandstone. I'm kind of like getting bored of it now. I know, we're all shocked. But I was like, no, I can't unink it because who knows when and if I'll ever get to use this again. So I just need to keep going with it. But I do love it. It's such a good color. The next one is the Jinhao 100, and this also, I think I used this pen last month as well, but I also switched the ink on here. This is a custom mix that I made, and I wanted to try and make a dupe of Ferris Wheel Press Queen and Castle because I don't believe that's like readily or easily available anymore. And so I was inspired, I don't know what made me think of using this, but in the Inkvent of 2024, there was that lemon and lime that was like neon bright, like barely legible. And I thought, oh, let me use that as the base. And then I added Sepia from Diamine. I added Autumn Forest by Dominant Industry to try and get some of that rose gold shimmer, because Queen and Castle has like a rose gold shimmer with like this pinky, or not pinky, with this yellowy brown base. And then I used one other color, and I can't remember right now what it was, but it was a yellow. And anyways, I think this came out really good. I have never had Queen and Castle myself, so I can't say for sure. But from what I've seen online, I think this looks pretty good. And it's flowing really well. It writes really nicely. The one thing I will say is that it's hard to see the pink shimmer in it because even the Dominant Industry Autumn Forest by itself, like sometimes that shimmer is kind of shy. And the base lemon and lime that I used also had shimmers. So that's what I see more of a lot of the time. But sometimes like I'll catch it just right in the light and I will also see the pink shimmer. So I don't know. I think it's a cool color. I like that mustardy kind of greeny brown color going on. Sorry, I have to keep autofocusing, guys. I need to figure out what's going on with that. Let me try and brighten this. Hopefully that's, oh, too bright. Yikes. I did not know that I could do that like that. Okay. I am not a professional. Please bear with me. All right, whatever. Hopefully it's okay. All right, the next one is another Pilot Kakuno, which is a new Pilot Kakuno for me because this was one of the other things I ordered with that gift card. And this is an extra fine Pilot nib. And I have never tried an extra fine Pilot nib before. And I just wanted to try it. I was just curious. I always thought it would probably be way too fine. And it is very fine, but I found that it really depends on what paper I'm writing on. Like on this paper, the aerofil paper, it feels very kind of not scratchy, but very sharp on the paper because it's just so fine. It's like, it almost feels like it's like cutting the paper a little bit, but not in an uncomfortable way. It's not bad. But in other papers, like the Hobonichi Weeks, both last year and this year, it feels fine. It does bleed in this year's though. Whereas none of the other pens I've used in this year's weeks have bled, but this one has. And I don't know if it's just because of the sharpness of the nib. Like it's kind of like pushing it into the paper more. I'm not sure. But in the MD paper, it's great. So I'm using quite a few different papers right now in all my different notebooks. And each one is a different experience with this nib. But for the most part, I really, really like this nib. It's super smooth, even though it is super fine. I would not say it's wet. This is a very wet ink. And I think because it's a very wet ink, this is writing nicely. I don't think I would ever try and put like a dry ink in here. I think that would probably not be a great writing experience. But yeah, I'm overall like really pleased with this. And I like it for, you know, when I have to write in smaller grid, it just is a lot easier with a fine nib like this. Okay, the next one is another carryover. This is the TWSBI Diamond Mini with the Van Diemen's tortoiseshell. I'm trying to see how much I have left in there. And it is kind of hard to tell, but I'm still really enjoying it, so I didn't want to change it out just yet. Looks like I have like some fingerprints on the page. I don't know if you can tell how the ink just is not really laying down the same in that one and that one. But anyways, that's fine. Okay, so Van Diemen's. Tortoiseshell, and this is the TWSBI Diamond Mini with the fine nib. A very juicy fine nib. It's just a really pretty deep plummy purple that I'm loving a lot. Let me move this a little bit. It's also kind of dark in here. I'm hoping that the video comes out fine, but it's overcast outside and I have all my lights on, but for some reason it just still feels dark. So hopefully it's okay. Let's go over to this page now, actually. So this is another carryover. This is still the ink mix that Arabella made me. Still going strong. Again, I was almost tempted to unink it just because I get bored of inks. This has been in this pen for, I don't know, I think probably like 3 months now. But at the same time, I do really like the color. It's very pretty. And I also have like a limited quantity. I'm not even sure where the rest of the sample that she made of this is. It's in with my samples. I just can't find it right now. So I thought, no, I better just keep it and just keep enjoying it. So this is the Admoc M800 with a fine nib, and it's the orange yellow model. Okay, the next one is a new addition. Although I have used this pen quite a few times in the last couple months. But I really like this pen. Like, I really like the size of it. It's the Jinhao 9016. I like that it posts deeply and securely. I like the style of it. Like, I think it just looks pretty and classy. And it writes really, really well. And this is a Diamine Inkvent ink as well. It is Diamine Winterberry. And I thought this would be a cute one for January just because, yeah, like right now you do see like all those little red berries around, and I don't know, it just feels like a good January color as well. Jinhao 9016, and this is an extra fine nib, believe it or not. It's very wide and wet for an extra fine, but I do like it. And then this is the other little new pen that I got for Christmas. This is actually, my aunt sent me a gift card for Amazon, which I'm always so appreciative of. She sends them every year. Let me focus this. And I have been wanting the Apricot Pearl Kaveco since it came out, but it just wasn't ever like a super priority for me to order it. But I did get it with the clip, and I love it. It is so pretty. It is really, really so pretty. Like the pearlescence of the apricot color in person, like, I just love it so much. I like it better than the iridescent pearl one. And this is Taranishi Opera Rose. And I did have to add a little white lightning to this. At first it was feeling really dry. It is a fine nib. It's smooth, like there's nothing wrong with the nib at all, but at first it just felt dry. And I don't know, I think sometimes these do, no, this is the Kaveco collection. I think sometimes these do take a little bit of time for the ink to flow down the feed. So maybe that was just it, but I did add a little bit of white lightning. And because it is a fine nib and it's coming out just like a little bit lighter than other nibs that I put this ink in, I think it matches the pen really well. Like it's just a cute little color match. I mean, obviously it's not as orange as the pen, but I don't know. I think they go really well together. And I'm loving that. And we have two more. I wanted some yellows. I'm always wanting yellows and I crave yellows in my lineup. So I have the Zodiac Pen Company in Cancer with the Primary Manipulation Light pen body. And this is Diamine Brandy Snap. And it's the Zodiac Pen Company Cancer model with a fine nib, and it's the PM Light. I really love Brandy Snap. I haven't used that in quite some time, but I just love this color. It's such a pretty, like, deeper yellow mustard color. And then finally, we have my TWSBI Diamond 580 in the Iris colorway. And I was wanting a brighter yellow as well. So I did Diatramentis Apricot, which actually there's like, I mixed other things in the vial with this, so this is not truly the apricot color, but from what I can remember, it's pretty close to it. And I love it. And this is a fine nib. This nib, out of all the TWSBI nibs that I have, feels so stiff and usually very dry. Even at first it felt pretty dry with that. So I don't know. It's not my favorite, which is sad because I love the way that the body looks. And I've even replaced the nib and it's still like really hard, but I think that that is a really cute match actually. So let's now zoom out and look at these. So that's the color palette overall. I feel like it looks cuter when it's all on one page, but you get the gist. So let's see if we can look at these up close. Yeah, these first two colors have no shimmer or anything, so you will see a little shimmer in there, but that's because there was shimmer left in the pen, even though I tried really hard to clean it out. And then Diamine Mint Twist. You can see a little bit of that like teal shimmer in there, really pretty. The Nutmeg has that gorgeous gold shimmer. Cacao do Brazil is, you know, that really pretty grayish. I love that color so much. It's just a perfect neutral in my opinion. And then we have Sandstone, Queen and Castle dupe. I wish that I could get the pink shimmer to show, but it's not pulling it. And then Montverde Brown Sugar, which basically looks black except for in that little swatch because it's so fine. And then Van Diemen's Tortoiseshell, which has that really nice shimmer as well. And then we have Arabella's Mix with that really pretty shimmer. Diamine Winterberry with the really pretty shimmer. And then these three at the bottom are standards. So I'm enjoying them, but I will be honest and say that I am kind of getting bored already of this lineup, and I kind of want to unink and try different combinations, but I don't even know what to try. I'm feeling kind of blasé about, like, there's nothing I'm really excited to put in a pen and like really want to try. So that's why I've just been leaving these and just writing with them, you know, not that I'm not enjoying them, but I'm not like really excited about them, and I'm not really excited about any other ones either. So I don't know what's up with that. I just go through phases, I guess. But I think these are all really good pairings. There's no pairing here that I don't like or is not functioning well. They're all writing really well. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful January. I'd love to hear any thoughts or questions, or what you're loving using this month for your pens and inks. What's your favorite combination that you have going on? I would love to hear about it. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.